Alrighty, guys, welcome. We are brought to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. We do have breaking news. Wasn't quite ready to go live, but I figured it'd be important for us to cover this since we have been covering this case from the beginning. If you guys want to go see those live streams, they are in the library, the Sleuth Intuition Library. We even read the affidavit verbatim. Give me 1 second here. What the heck?
Correspondent Aaron Katersky is in Riverhead, New York. Accused Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann is due in court soon. Prosecutors say they expect to reveal a significant development in the case. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is in Riverhead, New York right now with those details. Hey there, Aaron.
It's supposed to be a press conference this morning.
Good morning, Stephanie. Rex Heuermann is due in court behind me just a few minutes from now, and ABC News has learned from law enforcement sources he is going to be charged with a 7th murder.
Take me to the
2000 death of Valerie Mack, who, like the other women Heuermann is accused of killing, was working as a sex worker here on Long Island. Her remains were actually found in 2 different spots of Long Island, out here on the eastern end, and then others near Gilgo Beach, where the remains of the 6 other women Heuermann is accused of killing were also found over the years. Valerie Mack was identified through DNA. Her family is expected here at court when Heuermann is formally charged in her murder. She had, after her death, and prosecutors were able to finally identify her, Heuermann was named a suspect in her death back in June. Now they've been able to formally connect him, they say, to her murder, Stephanie.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Thanks for that update.
Okay, so now it looks like we're just waiting on this press conference here. I have Fox.
Rex Heuermann, already suspected of killing 4 women in the Gilgo Beach serial killings, has now been charged with murdering 2 more. The new charges now create a timeline of grisly murders that Heuermann is suspected to be linked to from 1993 to 2010. The Suffolk County District Attorney explaining at this press conference that DNA and electronic evidence actually helped link Heuermann to the bodies of those 2 other women found not far from the suspect's home. For more, let's get to our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky. He's there in Riverhead, New York. So dating back as far as the early 1990s.
Yeah, I think he could be responsible for the Eastbound Strangler
allegedly now killed
cases.
A woman named Sandra Castillo, whose remains were found in the Hamptons in North Sea, New York, back in 1993. That's at least 10 years earlier than any prior known killing allegedly done by Rex Heuermann. And he's also charged with murdering Jessica Taylor in 2003. Her body was found decapitated in Manorville, New York, also in eastern Long Island, and more of her remains were subsequently found near Gilgo Beach, near the remains of the 4 other women Heuermann has already been charged and pleaded not guilty to murdering. And so taken together, this expands the timeline of his alleged serial killing, and prosecutors said there's no telling how much more they may yet be able to connect him to, but they're now going back over the last 30 years to see what else Heuermann may have done.
All right, Aaron Katersky will continue to follow the outcome of these recent charges. Thank you.
All right, it says it was supposed to start at 8. It's already almost 8:30, so I'm thinking it starts at 8:30. Are you guys familiar with the Eastbound Strangler? Okay, so you have the Gilgo Beach or the Long Island cases. And then down in Atlantic City, you have 4 more victims. And the bodies are pointing to Gilgo Beach. Here, let me show you guys something really creepy. Hmm. Okay, so he killed 4 sex workers in Atlantic City. At one point, these were all hotels, bars, filled with prostitutes, drug addicts, gangsters, whatever. And the Eastbound Strangler killed 3 sex workers and laid them on this path back here with their feet touching the water and all pointing in the direction of Gilgo Beach. So these red lines, squiggly lines here are supposed to represent where the bodies were laying in the direction that they were facing. So I think he might be responsible for these deaths as well. So you see here, it used to be the Golden Key Motel. And I think somebody that was just hiking or jogging back here found the bodies. See, 4 dead bodies of women identified as sex workers were found in a drainage ditch filled with shallow water on November 20th, 2006, behind the Golden Key Motel on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, situated on the outskirts of Atlantic City, New Jersey. All of them were placed face down in a row facing east, about 60 feet apart from each other. They were clothed except for having their shoes and socks removed. They were believed to have been strangled to death. And we know Rex Heuermann has a fetish with feet. And some of the artwork that was found in his home, the people were missing. They had one shoe off, one barefoot. So if anything, I think he might be responsible for that case as well. Yep, the Eastbound Strangler. And he left his victims pointing right at Gilgo Beach. What the hell's that all about? What's up, Timmy? Butterfly.
For a week. The arrest of Rex Heuermann in connection with several of the Gilgo Beach killings has led to questions over the similarities between that case and others, including the one called the Eastbound Strangler. A few years prior to the discovery of that first Gilgo Beach murder victim,
Curious,
4
Charlie.
women were found strangled behind a motel that's outside of Atlantic City. Investigators do say all 4 victims were female sex workers. I do want to talk more about this case here, so let's bring in Dr. Alex Del Carmen, a criminologist and policing expert. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thanks for having me.
Was their feet, I believe.
Of course. So first off, can you kind of break down what we know about the cases of the Eastbound Strangler?
Well, the Eastbound Strangler case fascinated many people, particular law enforcement, because of the way that these young women were killed, right? They were strangled, and they were also lined up facing east, about 60 feet apart from each other. So whoever committed this crime actually did so in a way that he or she purposely wanted law enforcement to know that they were disciplined, that they knew what they were doing, and that they had done this intentionally.
What similarities overall do you see between the Eastbound Strangler and the Gilgo Beach murders? Because I know one similarity involves the fact that the victims, for the most part, appeared to be, according to investigators, sex workers.
That's right. And so in addition to the fact that they were sex workers,
If you guys are just joining, we are just hanging tight. We're waiting for a press conference. Looks like there's an update in the Rex Heuermann case. Looks like he's going to be charged with another murder.
We see the strangulation, which is the modus operandi of the killer, both in New York as well as in New Jersey. And the other part of this, too, that is also interesting to us in the criminology industry is the fact that the women were particularly, lined up in a certain way. And so what law enforcement is trying to do now is just trying to pinpoint whether or not the suspect in the actual New York murders, in the Gilgo murders, was actually traveling, which is only 2 hours and about 45 minutes distance between one location and the other. So it's feasible that this person could have gone, to the eastbound area and be noted for the killings of those particular women.
An investigator for a week. The arrest of Rex Heuermann in connection with
Whoops. Close down my browser. Whoops. Well, I hope we didn't miss it. What's up, V? So let me double check I'm on the right channel here. Timmy, do they think he placed those bodies there at the same time? Eastbound crime? No, separate occasions. They just didn't find the victims. They didn't find him until he placed all 6.
93. Now, as you could see, Heuermann stood quietly before a judge. He had a black blazer on, a blue shirt, and a blue tie. Very expressionless. The conference was short, but had some important pieces of information as we move forward in this case. At this point, the DA's office says they've handed over 99.9% of all data seized from the search warrant when they carefully combed through Heuermann's home on 2 occasions. They've also given the defense more than 120 terabytes of material, as well as lab reports and bench notes. Heuermann, just to recap, was first arrested last summer and charged in the deaths of the Gilgo 4 sex workers whose remains were found along a stretch of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. And then this year, he was charged, as I mentioned earlier, in the deaths of 2 more women whose remains were found out here in Suffolk
Crazy
County.
that they caught him.
As we've been reporting, Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The DA spoke. He called out the federal government, saying they're holding $13 million in forfeiture money that's been frozen from a prior investigation well before Tierney even took office. He didn't comment more on that. And in order to move forward, he said they need that money for costs relating to the case. As for the defense, they plan to file a motion to try the first 4 killings separate from the latest Heuermann has been charged with. They say their client is ready for his day in court.
I'd love to have that money and be able to use it to bring this case to a resolution. So I am going to go to the Department of Justice once again, hat in hand, and I will beg them, please give me this money so I can litigate this very significant serial killer case, and we'll see what our federal government tells me.
And that's what Rex wants. He wants his day in court. He wants his trial. So we're moving forward. Obviously, it's voluminous. There's a tremendous amount of discovery that they have to provide us and that we have to review still. But we're moving forward and we're moving towards that endpoint, which we're happy about.
No, Heuermann still remains a suspect in the other killings, and charges could be filed down the road. As for that asset forfeiture money, we reached out to the federal government and haven't heard back. A trial date has not been set yet, but Heuermann is due back in court for his next conference.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to check back in with you guys. See if I can find something going on with it. Fox has a press conference queued up, but it looks like they took it down. All right, guys, if there's any more updates, I'll jump back online. I'm going to go eat breakfast. I think I may have missed the press conference here. I'm going to check one more place. Or they rescheduled it. Okay, so let's we'll read this article and then we'll get out of here. Suspected serial killer Rex Heuermann charged with 7th slaying. Suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer has been charged with a 7th woman's death, according to prosecutors in New York, Suffolk County, Valerie Mack. And we knew that he was responsible for her murder. We knew that. A 24-year-old from Philadelphia went missing in 2000. Suffolk County Police found her partial remains in Manorville, New York that November. The latest charges come as investigators continue to examine DNA evidence with state-of-the-art techniques that the defense plans to challenge, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. Police arrested the New York City architect outside of his Manhattan office in July of 2023, more than a decade after the search for a missing woman 45 miles east of Long Island, Gilgo Beach, led to the discovery of 10 other bodies, including more of Mac's remains. That was Shannon Gilbert. Remember the 911 call that we've played a few different times? They still haven't tied that case to Rex, but they were looking for a missing girl who happens to be a sex worker, and she was found dead. They said she died from the elements, but we all know that she was most likely chased out there based off of the 911 call. Well, as of this morning, he is now officially being charged with another murder. And I'm not seeing any press conference, so that means that they rescheduled it. So if I see that, I will jump back live. But right now, that was all I have for you guys. Just a quick update in the Rex Heuermann case. We were just talking about this last night during the open panel discussion. And I said something was coming, and sure enough, this morning we're hit with an update in the Rex Heuermann Long Island serial killer case. So you guys enjoy your day. I'm going to go have some breakfast. If I see anything else or if that presser pops back up, we will go live. So enjoy your day. Peace.